Welcome back to Silver State Trains. Just real quick, if you haven't considered subscribing, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that button there real quick for me. Doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out big time. But with that out of the way, let's get into today's episode, or whatever you want to call it. So, looking at the comments I've received recently, I've had a lot of comments about there might be a lot of track on my layout, or with it being, flat without any elevation. It could be more kind of toy-like, if you will. And I greatly appreciate all the feedback, thoughts, and advice. It's kind of, stopped and made me think a little bit, what I could do differently with this layout. So just to recap, my layout here is 13 feet wide by 32 inches deep. And then over on this side here, I have a kick out that is, I believe it's 54 inches. I keep forgetting. But this is kind of what my layout is right now. So I kind of stopped to think what I could do, because, I could tear this all up again and, not the foam anyway, but the track, and change it up. It's not glued down. I'm not being, really held to anything. I can do whatever I want here. So I stopped to kind of think what I could do. With this being 13 feet from end to end, this layout, to me personally, if you will, and just my opinion, is too small to do a point-to-point kind of layout, if you will. So that kind of leaves me stuck with a continuous loop, and wanting to have a double loop, right here. This is the double loop here. That's what it's going to look like. And I'm kind of, what I think is, stuck with that generic design. Maybe I could have it kick in a little bit here and do a little turn there or whatnot, but this is the basic design that I think I could get with this. And then I need to add a yard and maybe a passing lane or what have you. So here's a yard. I have done some changes. We'll get to that in a minute. So I could put the yard front and center here, where it's easily within my wingspan, that I can easily put cars on, take cars off, disconnect, whatever, right in front of me is really easy to do. I can have it more, I think it's about as far as I can have it start anyway, because this switch is literally right against that turn. So this is where it would have to start. Or I can have it start somewhere here and then run that way. I could have the yard kind of over here. But the problem I see with this area here is that it's not really accessible. I mean, I can get to it and whatnot, but it's kind of a chore. It's a long reach. If I have any buildings here or whatnot, any kind of scenery, it would just kind of get in the way. So I don't see that really being feasible, though it's possible. And then wanting to have a station, I can have it over there. I can have it here. I could easily have a small station here as well, because you don't really have to do any disconnecting there or any kind of fiddling with the train. You're just running. So I could put it here, but it would be a very small station. Because having a switch here, I'd be looking at maybe having, a 248 millimeter piece, and maybe, what is it, the 210 or whatnot. It'd be really small, because if you look here, I got a pretty big size station here, and I got 7 cars in there, and it's just eating it up, no problem. I got room to spare. In fact, I need a bigger station, and these are new. I'll get to that in a minute. And then I have to try to squeeze in some industries here. So, with this kind of layout, I don't have a lot to work with. And yes, I do have a lot of track, and let's kind of get into that here. With all of your comments and whatnot that you viewers have left, you've kind of gotten me, thinking a little bit, because I wanted to put a little more thought into this layout, because I am intending on gluing this down here soon. and starting ballasting. I really want to get into the scenery and learn that. So what did I end up doing? Let's see if I can get in, zoom in on this here. So I ended up taking out one yard track. So I used to have four tracks in my yard. I ripped one out and I moved the engine storage to over here. Now, why did I do that? Well, actually, real quick, on my, let's see, my siding, I believe it's called, I added a runaround track there as well, and another industry. But this left me with this nice big opening right here. So what do I tend to do here? I kind of envision, sorry, this is still wet. I kind of envision maybe putting in a road. Now I know this is flat. I don't have any elevation. And it'd be kind of a pain in the butt to add an elevation, to be honest, just because 2% is ideal. 4% would be easy because it takes 8 feet to get up, 4%, to climb 4 inches. I think the 3% takes 12 feet, and I don't know what the 2% takes. I mean, 16 feet. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked at it. I don't have enough space. I mean, that's my whole stinking layout. So it's kind of out of the question. Now, I could raise this up an inch, potentially. I don't know if I have enough distance here, but I really don't want to be doing, having a switch on a part of an elevation, because it just makes smoothing it out a pain. Because then you have, the track's going to continue to climb here, but yet this is now somewhat stuck at whatever height that switch was at, unless I do a very small climb. But I have all these switches there. It just makes it a nightmare. And is 1 inch really going to add a lot to this? I don't really think so. 2 to 3 inches would add some interest, but I just don't have the space with what I'm working with, at least in my mind. Maybe some of you watching going, you could do that all day, no problem. But I don't see it really feasible with what I want to do. So I'm just going to keep it where I'm at here. So that's why I kind of thought, well, let me bring in a road, because that way I can have a little town over there or whatnot. And then I'm going to have the big mountain scenery that I'm going to do here, which, speaking of which, I got to build that track so I can see what that looks like, how big of a mountain I got to do. Then I can have a road running through here to the industry over there. So I could add some kind of character there, put in some trees, some bushes, different color ground cover. I'm also thinking about, sorry, I still have a bunch of crap on the ground. I was also looking about making a mountain scene here where I close this off, maybe with like a retaining wall, and having this cover it, because this is my programming track. So this would be a mountain scene here with trees, just to kind of break this up, little area for the train to disappear. I can have like a double portal, a double tunnel portal here, and another one over there. Something like that I can kind of work with. Just to add some character and what have you. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm working with now. So I already went ahead and made all these changes, as you can see. I am waiting. I don't know if you can pick it up here on the camera. This track here is not in. I ran out of the 20-30s, so I literally need one piece of track. So Amazon to the rescue, $6 later. Hopefully it'll be here. Today's Friday, so maybe Sunday, Monday. We'll see. That's Amazon. Maybe it'll be here next week, for all I know. But once I get that one piece of track, I'm going to call this done for now, unless you guys get me thinking again. But anyhow, let's run some trains. All right, so I figured I'd run some trains, and I would also throw every single freight car I have on my layout, at least my nice freight cars. So yeah, and no, you're not seeing doubles, or are you seeing doubles? But I now have 2 of these Athearn engines, so this is actually the first time I've had them both on the layout. So I already set up a quick consist. I'm gonna run these to see how the Athearns do out of the box. So let's rock and roll and see how they work. beautiful. I'd say their speed match pretty much perfectly. I'm happy with that. Cool. I'm gonna get them hooked up together and let's pull some freight cars. Little dead spot there. We'll clean the track, possibly, hopefully. All right, well, before I move these out of here, I got some Kato engines that are in the way. Let's get those moving. All right, the madness that I have here is I have 20 micro train freight cars and 1 Atlas car for a grand total of 21. Let's see if 2 Kato SD70Ms can do it. Oh, I already gave up the ghost. I was like, ain't doing it. Well, I think it's about as much running as I'm going to do today. It's about as much stress as I can take. I've had derailments, I've had dead track, I've had issues going through switches now, so I don't know. I'm done for the night. So I'll look at this later. But these are the Kato stations that I have finally picked up, because I had these end pieces to the station for quite a while. I've been trying to find the centerpieces, but they've been difficult to acquire. I did order one through Amazon, but in Amazon's infinite wisdom, they shipped this in a bag. So when it arrived to my house, it was completely crushed. And then everyone else wants to charge 2 to 3 to 4 times the cost. So I found a really cool seller on eBay that I happened to buy. I think I paid $14 a piece, and I want to say this whole set that came with the 2 pieces and the end pieces was 25, something like that. I'm happy with that. So now I just gotta do some messing around with the track. I think I probably had to put feeders on this because I just did this earlier today, but I keep getting interrupted. So it's kind of hard to tell where I left off. Just like this evening, I lost an hour of filming, putting the kids back to bed. So nature of life, what are you gonna do? But anyhow, I'm gonna stop for the night because I'm already pulling my hair out. So with that, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.